Are we there? Are we there? Yes, yes.
Technology.
All right, Mark van Straten with the Joy of Coding and Beekeeping. Just go ahead.
All right.
5 minutes. I'll be back in 5 minutes.
Hey, everybody. It was 2020, and like many of you, I was searching for a way desperately to get out of the house. And I've always been really intrigued by bees, you know, going about collecting honey. So for me, this was the golden opportunity to see and become a master beekeeper. So let me tell you this short story from an alternative universe about beekeeping. Because I found out that there is a tremendous amount of overlap between beekeeping and software engineering. So at the beginning of my journey, I was really searching, how can I become a beekeeper? Corona was there, so there were no courses. But I found out it's like a craftsmanship. So I found a mentor and I became an apprentice. And once enough of his knowledge rubbed off on me, I felt comfortable to start my own first greenfield project. But then, more choices, so many solutions that we can use, all having different trade-offs for our stakeholders. And that's tough. You have to think about, can I talk the same language like my colleagues in the same city? Can I exchange resources? Is it sustainable? Is it scalable? Is it stackable? Efficient? All things that you have to consider. But whatever you choose, it's your first legacy that you're building. And the cost to entry is pretty high, and your budget, of course, is limited, like software. So you decide something, and you give it a go. And then you start. And slowly but surely, I started managing more teams. And one day, I had a conversation with theory debate with one of my teams about refactoring. They were sure that their solution was perfect, was producing honey, the customers were happy, they had maximized the utilization of their box. But I was arguing, observability is non-existent, I cannot help you and lift and shift resources between other teams. It was a big fight. In the end, management won. But you can imagine that the team was kind of feisty and pretty stingy at the end of the ordeal. So that's something I learned. And then I also learned that you need to be able to be really agile and adapt to change and be a servant leader. So if we take that same team, well, half of the team said, you know what? We are just going to fly away. We're done here. Luckily, I found out just in time and I could convince them to have a different opinion. But still. Or the second one, a team. I gave them mastery, autonomy, and purpose. I only forgot to tell them how to use the standards and guidelines in my organization. So that didn't really fit what I needed. Or the last one, which per se is not a mistake, but it was a team which was doing so well that we had to, get new hardware for them. And we had to, adapt to change, make it fit, and keep the shop open. So, yeah, that's what you do. I also learned a ton about growing a team. And I found out it's really simple. You start small. You give a team autonomy. You give it the right tools. And then you wait. And you will be amazed what a team can achieve if you just let them be. No puns intended. But there's more. At the end of the sprint, we have a tangible outcome. We got honey. And then winter is there, and it's time for the big retrospective, filled with what-ifs, maybes, learnings and mistakes for the next spring or sprint. These are the overlaps that I've had in 5 minutes between my passion and my job, or my job and my passion, that I could apply from one in the other. And this, for me, is the joy of beekeeping and software and coding. Thank you.
Wasn't prepared for a shorter talk than 5 minutes. Very good. So let's go to the next one. Soham Dasgupta, you're already on the stage as well. You're going to tell us something about are you testing your unit tests? And I would say, go ahead.
Thank you.
Speak aloud.
Let me start my personal timer. Thank you, thank you. So, I don't have much of a time, but let's see if I can finish a very heavy topic within 5 minutes. So my plan is to take a check whether you're testing your unit test or not. So what I'm going to talk about, standard code coverage with unit tests, and take a use case, then look back again whether that coverage which we talked about is good or not, and give you some config tips. So what is code coverage? When we write code, we also write unit test, sometimes. And then we have all sorts of tools, and one of them is SonarQube, checks whether your unit test is covering all the parts of your code which you have written. So all the if, exception, etc., blah, blah, blah. And it gives you a nice report back whether you have done it good or not. So let's take up an example. This is Java, is almost my mother tongue, so I'm going to use the Java. So I have a small method which takes 3 numbers as input. Third number is 0, then it throws an exception. It does some summation, division, multiplication, and gives you back a result. And I wrote 2 unit tests to check that. One to check the exception, and one to check the calculation. And you know what SonarQube told me? You have 100% coverage. OK, keep that in mind. Let me talk about mutation a bit. Mutation testing, which is also known as PI testing, is actually checks your code, changes it at runtime, runs your unit tests. If it fails, it's killed. The mutation is killed. And if it survives, it is not good. So it checks the coverage, how much percentage of those mutations is actually killed. So that's a different type of coverage which mutation test does. And if I run the same unit test and code with mutation test, it surprisingly tells me I have a very low mutation coverage. What does that mean? So what the test does is it changes your code at runtime, in a bytecode level. It runs your tests, and it checks whether there is an issue or not. If there is an issue, that's a good thing. Think about if somebody changes your code and your previous unit tests are still passing. That's actually something very bad, that your unit tests are not covering all the changes that you made. So it also gives you a nice report back, because we all love reports. And the green parts are where it actually killed the mutations. So even though killing is a negative, but in this case, it's very good, so it is in green. And it also tells you all the red parts which are survived. And you all see the numbers on the left, 1, 2, 2. It also tells you what all things it did, what all mutations it ran, and why it killed and why it is not. These mutations are quite a lot of are inbuilt, but you can also add your own. There's a list of things you can do with it. It changes your true or false. It changes your negation. It changes your return statements. It changes your method signature, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And these comes in bundled with it, and you choose to enable all of them, some of them, few of them, whatever you want. How do you do this? If you're using IntelliJ, you have a plugin. You can plug it in locally, and you check it easily. But I like the fact that you can add it in your build pipeline, which we did when we were running our projects. You can add it with Gradle. You can add it with Maven. As I said, Java is almost my mother tongue, so I speak Gradle and Maven. And you can run a simple command to do it, basically. When we run it, we had a Spring Boot, Kafka, and Mongo and Postgres as well. So our code base was very large. So we soon ran into a problem of there were a lot of mutations happening and a lot of runs happening, and it made our build pipeline hugely slow. So what we did did a lot of investigation. We added threads. We added timeout factors. We added calls to exclude. So this is a chance to take a picture. If you're using PyTest, this brought our build time down almost 70%. It was used to be 7, 8 minutes. And after this, it was 4, almost. All Java? No. you can also use a Striker framework, which is specially designed for TypeScript, JavaScript, .NET, and Scala. So it's, even though I thought it's all Java, let me introduce something which is not Java. If you're also interested, these are the documentation points which you can take a picture and enjoy. Yeah, my watch as well. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, no, them.
Very nice. I guess I need to check my own code once again then. So, we're on to the next person. You're, again, already on stage. It's amazing. So, Laurens Lewis, you wrote your first code in GW Basic. I guess I'm too young to understand what that is. Because, yeah, you did it when you were 9 years old already. So now you're an all-round Java developer, and you are going to tell us something about, I do not want to say this too many times after one another, serverless Kotlin in seconds with Skotless.
Yes.
It was
indeed.
good, right?
Yeah,
it was
that
good.
is it.
All right, give him a round of applause, people.
Thanks a lot. So I will not do my timing myself. The organization is forwarding the slide every 15 seconds. And I'll be talking about Kotlin, which is a Kotlin serverless framework. It's created by JetBrains, the vendor of many IDEs and also the Kotlin programming language. But it's still an incubator project, so it's still experimental. So maybe not suitable for production yet, but we'll have a look at that. So here you see me in my home office working on my big Java monolith, looking outside to the windows. I see cloud, serverless, Kotlin, all the new and nice technologies out there. Obviously, Amazon Prime Video is moving back from serverless to monolith, but let's not keep that into account. So I wanted to get my hands dirty, and I always like to work on a real-life use case. So sometimes it's going to rain, and I tend to forget my umbrella. So this is the perfect problem to solve by throwing some serverless technology out at it. So basically, this is my use case. Given that I check my email when I wake up, when it will rain, then let me know via email. So basically, I want to trigger some serverless Lambda function. It connects to a weather cloud service, buienradar, and if it's going to rain, send me an email. So let's make this project together. So I opened up my IDE and I created a new Kotlin project with Gradle as a build tool. And as soon as I hit the create button, a whole skeleton project is created for me, as you can see here. So a lot of files are created, and if I hit the icon on line 1, it is executed, and in the bottom it shows a nice Hello World application ready for me to build my use case in. It also comes with a Gradle build file, as I specified. So at the top you see that the Kotlin version is used, and some dependencies are added here as well. So this is also ready to add the Kotlin plugin to get working on our serverless function. Unfortunately, that's not available on Maven Central, the most basic thing where you would normally get your dependencies on a JVM project. So I need to specify the JetBrains repository to be able to load the plugin. You see me doing that here at the top. So I add the Kotlin plugin, I downgrade my Kotlin version, and you see me adding some dependencies. So I use Kotlin Lang and the AWS version of it as well. So you can also run it on Azure, but I chose AWS here. Here I made a first function. I run the Kotlin local task on Gradle, and immediately I have a localhost running, displaying the content of the function I just created. But of course, we want to run this serverless. So here you see me adding the Kotlin plugin, and in the bottom you see me pointing to where the code resides. But I need to give it some additional details. So about halfway, I point to a S3 bucket, basically where to store the binaries for this serverless function. And I also specify a profile, which is basically which user should be used to execute all of this. Well, after that, I can start the Kotlin deploy task. And after running, it comes up with a nice URL. And I already made my first serverless Kotlin function running all in the cloud. You see me running the same function on AWS right now. So time to call buienradar. So I used the Java HTTP client to do that. And I used Kotlin Nested Serializable to marshal the JSON object back into some Kotlin objects, which I can use in my business logic. business logic is here, very simple. If the range chance is more than 20%, then make this beautiful HTML page out of it. So I'm using that using Kotlin X.html, which is a nice DSL to get it done. But of course, as I said, I don't want to go to a website. I want to get it emailed to me. So therefore, I made a class which uses Jakarta Mail, which is one of the basic things to send an email on the JDK. That's too much code for 15 seconds. Then I wire them together. So if it's going to rain, I call the URL, and then an email is sent, as you can see here at the bottom. So already, I got things working, but of course, I don't want to call URL every day, right? I want this automated. So therefore, Kotlin comes with a nice scheduled annotation. I specify to run it around midnight, depending on whether it's daylight savings or not. And then it already works. So basically, my use case works, and I wanted to do this for free. And I'm very well in the free tier, so I have 1 million free serverless requests a month and 1,000 free emails a month, which is well enough for my use case. So very quickly, I developed this serverless Kotlin application, and I had a lot of fun doing it. So please do try this at home as well, but maybe not at work. The latest release is 1.5 years old. The latest fixed issue is 2 years old, and it doesn't support the latest Kotlin versions. That's it.
Thank you. I am going to watch this at home. So we have quite of an ordinary topic in this title, the IKEA effect. Willem, so you're going to tell us something about that. I'm first going to tell you something about you, because I just want to do that. So you are an enthusiastic lead Java developer at JDriven. And you're very passionate about sharing your experience and knowledge with others. This is your chance.
It's right here.
Go ahead.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
I got 5 minutes.
Applause, please, please.
Does the music work? No music? Okay, then you have to do it. Da 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 da. You all feel right? So let's continue for this moment. I want to tell you a story. So once upon a time, and this story starts with, hey. This is actually Swedish for hey. And talking about Swedish, I once went to the IKEA. And why did I go to the IKEA? Because I wanted a fjällbo. It's actually a stelling cost. So I ended up going to the IKEA to buy a fjällbo, and I ended up in another stelling cost because I wanted a fjällbo, and I had to take it home in a box. I wanted a stelling cost, not a box. So I took everything home in my car, ended up at home with my wife. This is not me and it's not my wife, but you guessed it. I ended up, and you know what? 2 things can happen. The first one, you have a stelling cost, or the second one, you ruined your marriage. So I ended up with a stelling cost. And you know what? Oh, I was really happy. You know why? 2 reasons. I have a stelling cost, and the second one, I didn't ruin my marriage. Thank you. And the feeling I had after I built the IKEA cost is joy. I built it myself. And that's what happens with coding as well. When we code, my story begins from the beginning. So somewhere in 2021, I wanted to build a test case. No, not this case. This one, a test case. So I started building a test case with JUnit. And the test case was that I wanted to test for logs. Logs, thank you. And my log messages in my application, I wanted to assert if there were exceptions. I wanted to assert if some messages appeared in my logs. So I was excited to build something myself. And what I did is I built a watch log extension. I was happy. So I even built it with Spring Boot integration tests, everything, documentation. It was fantastic. Yes, I was as happy as a pauw. That's a Dutch. So 16 months later, I ended up on GitHub. There's some interesting projects on there. Did you know that? I was surfing some projects there, and what? A log captor. What does it say? Okay, a log captor captures log entries for unit and integration testing purposes. What? Okay, so is this the moment my panic starts? I built something, teams are using it, it was my code, it was my precious. And what am I going to do with it? What do I do with my pride? I'm going to sit in the corner over there and cry? Or omdenken? That's what I did. Turn around your thoughts and get into action, because action changes things. You're the one that can change things. So what I did, yes, I removed my own code. Yes. And I deprecated everything. And I used the existing library from GitHub. And I was happy. And very happy. So I created a pull request replacing my watchlog and watchlog extension by log captor library. And you know what? I'm sharing this with you right now, because sharing is caring. And no, I'm presenting it to you right now. It's not rocket science. It's a mistake I made. And it's not a success story, but it can help you all and think, when I start to see an IKEA effect, oh, there you go. I start to see the IKEA effect. I recognize it. You look on GitHub, is there something that already exists? And if there is, use it. And be proud. Sharing is caring. Thank you very much.
I now really want to go to a trip to the IKEA for some reason. So, yeah, that brings us to our last lightning talk. Thank you for your talk, Willem. And we are going to set up a few things right now. And maybe for our audience, it's good to know that you might want to take your phone out of your pockets or anywhere else. Because I heard that you are gonna need it if you want to join a quiz that's coming up. So I have two people on the stage, which means I can now either choose to have a long story about the both of you, but I think I'm gonna keep it short, because you both are, you're not new to this. I believe you have been at Joy of Coding 2018. And you have been at Joy of Coding at least last year, right? 2022. That already deserves an applause, right? So, yeah. And you are going to play some music, and it's the Plastic Static Void main. Good luck. And you're with two, but still 5 minutes, huh?
Yeah. Okay, thanks. Welcome to our talk, or quiz. This is a pop quiz, grab your phone, called Public Static Void Main. For those of you who are not Java developers, that's the main method in Java.
Or C#.
Or C#. Okay, so for the rest of you, Public Static Void Main, remember those words and sing along if you can. So this is a pop quiz. Please use the URL or QR code to join the quiz. You can win a JetBrains All Product Pack with a 1-year free license.
Woo!
So, again, grab your phone, use the QR code. While I explain how this quiz came about, Hanno talks about software and music. I read a tweet that said you can sing Public Static Void Main like everybody dance now, and I can't stop doing it. Public Static Void Main. And then a friend of mine answered, but this also works for Vamos a la Playa.
Vamos. Oh, yeah, wait. Public static void main. Oh, oh, oh. Public static void main. Oh, oh.
So, without further ado, let's start the quiz. If you know the words, sing along. First question.
Public static void main. Public static void main.
That, of course, was We Will Rock You by Queen.
Woo!
Let's see the leaderboard. Currently in the lead, Alex. Let's see what happens. Next song.
Public static void main. String array arcs. System outprint line. Oh baby, baby.
That was Oops, I Did It Again by Britney Spears, as most of you noticed. Alex is still in the... Oh, Dylan Beatty is in the lead.
Beatty.
Let's
Go, Dylan.
Next song.
Public static void main. Oh, public static void main.
That was Girls Just Want to Have Fun by Cyndi Lauper. Let's see. Oh, someone is beating Dylan. Let's go. Song number 4.
It's a void main, a public static void main, public static void main.
That was Welcome to the Jungle by Guns N' Roses. 75%, nice. Ooh, exciting leaderboard. Song number 5.
Oh, that's me in a corner. Oh, that's me in a spotlight. Public static void main. Trying to keep up with you. Just try system outprint something. Oh no, I've said too much. I haven't said enough.
So everybody who's our age will know that was Losing My Religion by
Hey,
R.E.M.
hey.
90s. Hey, I'm older than you.
Watch it.
Quiet. Well done, Thomas. Okay, last song, and reminder, you are allowed to sing along.
You are.
Please. And thank you.
Whoa, we're halfway there. Whoa, public static void main. Take my hand, we'll make it elsewhere. Whoa, public static void main.
And yes, that was Living on a Prayer by John Bon Jovi. Thank you. So you're gonna have to fight for the license.
Bonus song. Bonus song.
Wat zeg je?
Bonus song.
Bonus. Who are Thomas and Alex? Okay. Can you come up so that the first one to know the song?
Where are they? Where are they? So I'll play a song, right? And you keep track of the one that knows it first, right?
Yeah, I need you to be both in my line of vision.
There's
then.
no code in the background for this one, so you just have to use your imagination, right?
So raise your hand as soon as you know what song he's playing.
Public static void main, I can't let you go. Life is crazy. Java, baby. Still tight, right?
Next. That was Candy by Iggy Pop, by the way, for the slightly older people.
Wait, different one. Public static void main. Static void main.
Nee. Nee.
Public static void main is what we say. Public static.
Yeah.
The band.
The band? Go your own way.
You can go your own way, bye. It's still tight, but
I'll take it.
we've run out of time.
Fleetwood Mac.
Thank you.